What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash, and we are, of course, here to recap the conference championship games. I really can't believe how close it is to the season being over. I feel like it was week one yesterday, but here we are. We have the Super Bowl matchup. It's going to be Patriots. It's going to be Seahawks. It's going to be a good one. It's a rematch, but I'm excited for it. Matt, Theo, before we get into these games, though, how are you guys doing on this very snowy Sunday night?
Very snowy here in Denver. You saw it on the screen. It was actually the main character of the game. And it was actually worse. I live pretty, not that far from the stadium. And I think it was a little bit worse at the stadium. Like, some of these field goal kickers are lining up, and I look out the window, and I'm like, yeah, it seems like I could go out there and make it. Like, it's not that bad. And then the camera would go, and it was way worse at the stadium, like blowing sideways, just heavier. And it's only a few blocks away. So it may have been edited. All right. Just throwing that out there. I think CBS, they can edit the yard lines onto the field. Who's to say they can't edit the snow?
To look crazier than it actually is.
Yep. I looked out the window, and in my neighborhood, it wasn't as bad as at the stadium. So
it was pretty bad here in Columbus. It's the first time Franklin County has ever been on a level 3 snow emergency. There is 12 inches of snow surrounding my house. Very little chance that I'm actually making it to work tomorrow. And Matt, I know you were having some issues getting through the snow.
Had to go get some salt. Car didn't want to start.
Dude.
After I got there, of course. So I watched the second half of Seahawks Rams on my phone instead of on my big TV, which was awesome. But hey, I was wearing jeans while doing it, which I couldn't do in the summer. So shout out to winter, man. It's awesome, dude.
Winter truthers get a win here.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets. And I was wearing a coat, which is great for my outfit. You're muted, Theo, but it was, and of course it was dark as hell, and it was like 6 p.m. It was all
much aura. So much aura. But I want to talk about the snow in context of the AFC Championship game. Yeah.
A lot of people are upset that it ruined the game. And I mean, this has been a big day for 32 domed stadium believers. How do you guys feel about that?
Dumbest take I ever heard.
Football's an outdoor sport.
Kills me. It kills me inside, man. Here's what domes are good for. Here's what domes are good for: conventions and concerts. They're good for conventions and concerts and a multi-use facility.
I even love when concerts are outside. Like,
sure, yeah.
Look. We went to SoFi Stadium a couple of years ago, right? And afterwards we recorded, and it's like a cool stadium. Like, it's a cool space, but it felt very theatrical. It felt very much like you're going to see something other than a football game, you know? It feels like a mall more than it does like a football stadium. And I feel like whenever you have these domed in stadiums, it just doesn't feel like football anymore. And maybe that is an old head mentality. Maybe that does make me sound like a boomer. But football to me is just an outdoor sport. They don't play tennis in a dome, but I guess they also probably just like.
Why don't we play every college sport in a dome? Wyoming. Why don't you guys get it?
It's not even that I want the games inside. It's that I want the good people of Green Bay, Wisconsin to have to pay $3 billion so they can demolish Lambeau and put up a dome. That to me is more important than anything else. I don't know. Like, I think it's interesting when big time games can have weather provide a big impact. And I kind of think my takeaway was like, I get it with the dome stuff. Personally, like, I think it's an outdoor sport. I agree the energy is better. I think it's okay to have crazy weather-related things happen. I also think that people, the second that it starts snowing, everything becomes the snow's fault. Everything becomes the weather's fault. When, like, really, I don't know if I feel that way. For instance, the field goal that was missed by Denver really got blocked, but initially they blamed it on like the wind, or the interception that Stidham threw. That was just a bad pass straight up. It wasn't like that guy was screaming wide open. He got rushed and then panicked and threw it because like the shot clock or the play clock was winding down, and he just had to snap it because of the substitutions and whatnot. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say it didn't play a big role. The Patriots in the fourth quarter didn't throw the ball. They had to stay completely on the ground and were willing to just chew up clock, and it affected the punts greatly. I mean, the Patriots had a tough time punting into the wind, and they had to play the field position battle, but it was also like a slugfest before any of that started. And I think it's getting a little bit too much blame.
You know how many pass yards the Patriots had in the first quarter? -2 yards. You know how many they had in the fourth quarter? -7 yards. And that's an excuse to build a dome over every stadium and take away the whimsy of football. It makes me sick. Like, this is one of my least favorite takes that I see gaining mainstream. I saw a take today that crowd noise is a problem. I saw a take today that said,
I thought that was a joke. I thought that was like making fun of the.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is a joke.
The dome.
But it's the same shit. Crowd noise. No one wants to see a team where a game where the offense can't communicate and there's false starts and there's all these like this external factor messing with the results of the game, and it's not sterile and it's not just played in an empty stadium.
That has to be satire.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was. But to me, that's exactly what the dome people sound like. Well, we can't play in the snow. It's messing with the. It's not the same as grass. They're slipping.
Well,
it's fucking football, bro. Like, it's football, and it's
a lot of players prefer to play in snow over rain because the snow provides a little extra.
Well, rain is the same shit. Do they? No one. I don't think any of the players prefer to play in rain over a dome or snow over a dome. Maybe some of them do. I don't care what they prefer. I care about variation. I care about the cinema of it. I care about like, snow games are just cool. Someone who doesn't care about football, right? You're trying to get them to care about a football game. All right. It's your girlfriend. It's your boyfriend. It's whoever it is. And you're trying to be like, look at what's going on the screen. You want them to care because you care.
Yeah.
It's a snow game. Instantly they care. Instantly they're like, oh, that's pretty interesting. It's a sport in a big snowstorm. It's interesting. It's inherently interesting about the sport of football that it can happen in a blizzard, or it can happen in 50 mile an hour winds, or it can happen in whatever kind of environment.
When it's 104 degrees, like
it's interesting that a playoff game can get swung like that. I don't care that it's the AFC Championship game. I don't care at all. I wish the Super Bowl could come to Lambeau. I really do, and we could see who could play in the snow. Like, I think it is an awful take that this fourth quarter of this game convinces you that every team should be in a dome all the time. When, again, like you said, Matt, this was a slop fest from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
Matt, I thought it was a great point that you brought up. Like, who's paying to put a dome in? You know, this was a whole battle that the city of Cleveland had with the Haslams, where they wanted to build their new dome in downtown Cleveland. But they're like, no, we're not putting that on Cleveland taxpayers. That's ridiculous.
So I have a question based on, let's say tomorrow the mandate came down. It's got to be like everybody in the NFL is trying to push for domes. Or like, let's say that's the direction we're heading. That's a better way to put it. Who do you think the last holdout would be?
Green Bay.
It would be
right?
Green Bay.
It would be Green Bay. I thought of that question. I thought it was interesting. And it's like, it probably just would be Green Bay because you can't do anything to Lambeau. But a lot of these places look into like, can we put a dome over our existing stadium? Like, I know that's a proposal that's not going to happen for like Paycor in Cincinnati or whatever. So I wonder who would be the last like few remaining teams that say no, sorry. Probably Southern teams, and then like you can't get rid of Lambeau, of course.
I think there's a very real possibility that the mandate comes down that you got to build a dome. And I think it really has to do with concerts and conventions and it being a multi-use facility more than any football reason. I think it has to do with profit all year round and the owners making more money. And I think there is a world where Lambeau stays up and they play like it's a historic site. It's a museum. Maybe they even play a game there sometimes, like the hockey outdoor classics or whatever. But it wouldn't surprise me if they just don't demolish Lambeau and they build a new stadium somewhere else in Wisconsin.
Here's the thing that I don't get, though. You know, a lot of these concert venues are money pits. Like a lot of them aren't even profitable. The one that comes to mind mostly is the Dome in Vegas. Like everyone's been trying to like get that kind of captivity, but that thing loses money because of how much it costs to run.
That thing is sick as hell, though. Honestly, I don't care. It's so sweet.
And here's my other
with that one.
Here's my other problem.
You're gonna build this $6 billion dome,
but the idea is that they would do multiple things there, right? And that's what they do with all these stadiums. Is like SoFi is like this weirdo like hybrid, and they all want to be like it's gonna be a mall as well or some shit like that.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's like I'm not playing the game in a mall. I don't care. I think the historic stadiums are cool, and the NFL has a real issue with. Like, it doesn't have a lot of stadiums that have personality. In the same way that college football doesn't struggle with that at all. Right. Many of them do. And part of that's just like the size of them. And like maybe you could say that's sort of like, intangible. What is a personality of a stadium exactly? But it's real and it totally exists and it totally affects the atmosphere. And nobody would ever question game day atmosphere college football versus the NFL. No one would ever question which is better.
Yeah.
And here's what makes me sick as well. Like, I'm sick of these conference championship games end. And we were talking about the Sphere in Las Vegas. Like, just these reactionary takes about the weather or the officials or the overtime rules or some shit that's unfair instead of what happens in the game. And it's always the talking point. And it's like, bro, yeah, it's an open field. Like, it's not, the snow is honestly not the most interesting thing that happens, but it's the lead on our podcast. It's what's trending. I don't like anything about the dome dialogue.
Well, let's talk about the game itself.
Let's talk about the game.
I thought one of the things that stood out to me immediately, and the Patriots obviously ended up winning this game, is that they want to get big. We've talked about it all year, and put these extra tight ends and run the ball, just kind of like the Bills do. And the Bills found a lot of success doing that against the Broncos, and then it set up the rest of their offense. In this game, and for a lot of the season, though, the Patriots have not been as consistently successful doing that. In this game, they really struggled, I thought, for a lot of the game to string together successful runs and build the rest of their offense off of that. I thought that was the main. I mean, they have several issues, of course. Like on top of that, then you saw May and his feel in the pocket. I thought some of it was like Benito's coming around the edge. You saw that one play in the way that it's like, if you're hoping that May plays good. And he barely gets it off, but it's risky. But some of the other times I thought May wanted to step up, and Denver did a really good job of keeping contained and not letting him run for a lot of this one as well. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I mean, the Broncos secondary was really good. And, he would test Surtain down the sideline or whatever, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of man coverage out of Surtain in this game, and it worked to perfection. You saw that May wanted to take the deep shots whenever they got those opportunities, and they just really couldn't connect on anything. Despite these receivers having really strong hands, despite May having a very accurate deep ball, they connected on a couple of like intermediate stuff on the sideline, but really not a lot of success throwing the ball. Under 100 passing yards for Drake May in this one. I thought he actually did like a pretty good job running when it was possible. Like that was really I thought the most successful part of their offense was Drake May taking off on just like random occurrences.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really can't think of any digs or booty plays off the top of my head. There was one big catch that Mac Hollins actually had on a dig. I thought Denver, like you said, Matt, did a really good job understanding what Drake May wants to do. He wants to run through the A and B gaps. He's always been a unique scrambler in this way, where it is straight downhill. It's not really around the edge. He really wants to be a running back, basically, be like a downhill north and south running back type of quarterback. And it seemed like there were times where he was dropping his eyes trying to get that done, to just rip off a run right up the gut. And the Broncos were there for him every single time. I thought he could have done a better job actually standing in the pocket.
I agree.
And understanding when, the scramble was there and when it was not. There was one play that he had where he had Hunter Henry on a crossing route, I think in the third quarter, where they were showing the coverage downfield and it looked pretty open, and he dropped his eyes to scramble and didn't get anywhere. There was another scenario down in the red zone where I think it was Stevenson got open on like a choice route, and I'm screaming at the TV screen like, there it is, and May has dropped his eyes. And we'll have to go to the film and see if some of these are reasonable things, or maybe that's not, especially the Stevenson one in the end zone, if that's not a part of the progression. But there were definitely moments in this one where it's like, you gotta, you took too many sacks. Like, he had less than 100 passing yards, and there was meat on the bone for sure.
Yeah, not the offensive performance you want to see, even though it is a great defense in Denver, if we're talking about a team that's going to go win the Super Bowl, especially considering all the talk around this Patriots team all year has been they've played an easy schedule. They don't belong here. Even in the playoffs, it's like, oh, they play Stroud in the rain, and he has this awful, like, all-time bad playoff performance, and then they go up against Jarrett Stidham. It very much plays into that narrative, especially if May isn't going out there and lighting it up. But I disagree. Like, I still think they're the best team in the AFC. I mean, their defense has been very, very good with their secondary and with the defensive line really coming through. Barmore had a rep against Quinn Miners that was absolutely diabolical. So I think they absolutely, above and beyond, deserve to be here. But it very much plays into that narrative a little bit when they've played the opponents they have, and then in the playoffs, May hasn't looked particularly special against these high-level defenses.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they were the number one EPA team on offense in the league going into the playoffs. They reached the playoffs, they reached these tougher defenses, and the offense has fallen apart. I mean, 16 points, 21 points, and 21 points only because Stroud turned it over 5 times, right? Like, we can even think about that from a points per drive perspective, and 21 is not even as impressive as it sounds. And then 10 in this game, right? Now, May is the first quarterback in NFL history to go through top 5 scoring defenses each of these first 3 rounds of the playoffs. This is the hardest defensive slate that we have seen in the AFC. So I do think that the Patriots deserve a bit of applause for getting that done in a way that is not being done right now, right? Like, but it is concerning the way the offense looks heading into, the Super Bowl against the best
defense in the league, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to be going up against a great defense anyway. And like, yes, they've won. And I do think, like, if we're saying that May did so-and-so in the regular season playing easy defenses, it's fair to say, like, he's had a particularly tough defensive schedule in the playoffs, but they have won these games because the defense has stepped up. Yes, they've made the Super Bowl, but it's in large part because the offense has done very poorly against those great defenses, and the defense has stepped up and won anyway. And there's a little bit of more context, like, again, in the fourth quarter of this game, the offense was basically like, we're just going to knee the ball at a point and run the 2 minutes and give it back to you, have fun or whatever. But I'm not super inspired by the Patriots offense today or in this playoff run.
I'm not super inspired either, but here is a word of hope for the Patriots going into the Super Bowl. The weather has impacted a lot. Now, I think that's okay. I don't need a Patriots quarterback or any other quarterback to throw 370 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions for me to consider the game entertaining. I really don't think QB stat lines determine how great a game is or the nerves I feel over the course of a game. But yeah, this is an ugly stat line for Drake May, I think partially because of the weather. Stroud, his game against the Patriots, I don't think weather was talked about enough in that performance or explaining that performance. Because you turn on the tape, you turn on the all 22, and the first thing that immediately comes to mind is there's condensation all over the lens, and it's fucking wet. And he comes out in his first play as a bootleg, and there's someone wide open the flat, and he throws the flat, and it misses, right? And you're like, damn, he sucks throwing in the rain. Like, that's obviously a throw that he would hit somewhere else. And the Patriots have played 2 games in that kind of weather, and now they're going to a dome. And I think everybody has forgotten that they're the number 1 EPA team. And I think everybody has forgotten some of the, like, it is a fact going into the Super Bowl that their offense has been exposed as sucking when it really has been in situations where the snow has an impact. I mean, what did Stafford do in the snow? What did Puka Nacua do in the snow last week versus the Bears? And what did they do this week in a dome? I think that the weather does explain some of these Patriots offensive issues in a way that they're not going to have to face in Santa Clara. Does that make Drake May the GOAT? No. Does it mean that he shouldn't have hit that dig that was wide open before halftime? Like, he should have still hit that. It wasn't snowing that hard then. But I do think weather has been a factor in these Patriots games for sure.
I kind of agree with you some, but then some of the core issues, it's like, do you not believe in those then? Like May's inability to feel pressure throughout this playoff run. It's like, I just don't think that's on the snow or the wind or whatever. Or like, the Patriots offensive line is kind of not quite at the level as like a lot of the other teams who are running the same offense or whatever, and really can't establish itself against some of the premier rushing offenses a lot of the time. It's like, I don't know. Those both seem very real to me. When May has a bajillion fumbles and it's like raining, okay. When May is running forward and the game he gets the ball punched out just on like a keeper is in the rain against the Texans defense, I can say, all right, that's a chunk of variance right there that probably won't go against them in the dome, or like it's better odds not to, right? But the issues that you see with them are just a little bit too real, and they're facing a very good defense again. So I'm relatively worried about the offensive performance. And I think like if they come out playing like they have the last 3 weeks, like I just don't think the Seahawks offense is as inept as the offenses that they've been facing recently. Talking about the Broncos offense, Stidham held it together for a little while when it was like Peyton play calling and he was doing a great job mixing it up, and he hit that, that big post or whatever. And then they called like that, he kept it on that read option or whatever. You're like, all right, Peyton's in his bag. And then once it got outside of that and they were either getting Stidham under pressure, or really once he had that fumble, after that, like the wheels really started to fall off and they started heating him up and he was panicking, and, he would roll out and you're like, this guy just isn't quite as fast as Bo Nix is and doesn't give you quite as good of a chance as Bo does. And it was super, super limiting. And then, of course, you had that interception at the end, which, I mean, way, way, way underthrown, didn't give his guy a chance. I'm sure it wasn't easy throwing against the Patriots all-white defense in that moment. I mean, you really could hardly see those guys. I wonder how hard that is.
But hard to see as May, the Patriots all-white receivers.
Yeah. But by the time it was snowing that heavy and it was an issue, they said, cool, that's probably true. We are not ever throwing the ball. We're running.
Yeah, it was actually crazy that they basically was 10-7 and the Patriots made the decision. This game is ending 10-7. All right. And we're basically kneeing this thing out and until it goes. But I think Stidham, you can pretty much classify the performance as a disaster. Like, there was the nice post route, and that was a good play for sure.
That was a good throw.
That was a great throw. That was a great throw.
But it was in the 10, 15, 20 play script zone,
It was an open, it was something capturing the trick safety and then the post with no safety help, the classic quarters beater, right, that he hit with Mims. Shout out Marvin Mims, by the way. He was crucial in the Giants comeback game, and then was on ice for the rest of the year, and then popped up in the playoffs as their best offensive player. Whatever.
He's a crucial guy.
True.
Yeah, he hit that play, but then after that, I mean, it was nothing but disaster plays that defined his performance. Like that fumble, what are you doing? Just dirt the screen. Instead, you're shovel passing it backwards under pressure. The pick is just as bad as it can be. I feel like every throw over the middle that he had was thrown behind. He didn't hit any of these digs in a really catchable way with timing. I think Cortland dropped one for sure, but
Yeah.
overall, it's what I liked about Stidham going into this game, and as I watch more film, is like he can hit all the throws. You know, like I've seen a bunch of fades from him to Devontae when he was on the Raiders. He hit some nice ones. I've seen some digs from him. I've seen him scramble and use his legs and do all those things. Like he hit the post, and that was it. And then the thing that really concerned me about Stidham was, okay, he can hit all the throws. He can look like a good guy for a while. And then just this bizarre decision comes up. Like, why did you throw that into double coverage deep? It was all over his film. And it was so clear how slow he was and that he would fumble at some point in this game. So his sack rate was twice as high. His interception rate was twice as high. And that was what came through so much more than the digs and the pocket poise. He had one other nice play where he like reset in the pocket and hit like a drag versus man. And for a while there, it really did look like the Broncos had the Patriots on the ropes. But the disaster plays from Stidham far outweighed what the throws that he hit, and the run game. The run game was not as strong as it would have been with Nix's read option threat.
Yeah, that's true. I thought Harvey played a pretty good game, actually. I thought there were a number of times where I was like, statistically, I don't think he was anything special in terms of like yards per carry or whatever. But there were a number of times where I'm like, all right, Harvey kind of made something happen there when it wasn't. And then a lot of times it's like, okay, well, you're getting tackled 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage because the defenders are right there. The Patriots' interior defensive line is very legit. Barmore had a big game. Those guys are nasty and are going to be tough for Seattle to deal with for sure. I think that's going to be a big storyline in the game, definitely.
Yeah. Marvy, especially in the run game, like the Texas routes, those like kind of in and outs, the check downs.
Yeah.
It seemed they opened the game with under center run. And that was kind of my X factor was, look, in Nix, you kind of want to be in shotgun all the time because he is a very fluid, fast runner. So you want to keep that read option threat open. Now that he's gone, you can kind of get under center and maybe you can go more wide zone. Maybe you can lean on your offensive line a little bit more. Like maybe that could work. But they started the game and got stuffed immediately 2 straight times and never really. They didn't go to it on the 4th and 1 where they got turned down. They passed it and it was incomplete. Could have taken the field goal, right? That was a big decision. Didn't run that ball there because of the previous failures under center run. So it's so disappointing that they have this offensive line and they can't do that. Like it just doesn't really make any sense to me. And it tells me that this offensive line might be a little bit overrated, right? That they cannot just get in this mode where they become a battering ram and run the football.
Yeah. It also makes you wonder, like, how much are they repping that in practice?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a big adjustment without Nix to all of a sudden become this under center run team. And when they ran it last week, I think their first 2 under center runs were fumbles. So
yeah.
So it's good they didn't do that. What did you guys think about Peyton going for it on 4th and 1 when they were in field goal range? I know analytically that was supposedly the wrong call.
What? Really?
I think so. I think maybe I misread it, but I was surprised. I thought the analytics were like win probability action.
I'm so go for it, Pilled. I thought that was the right decision. I mean, if you kick a field goal there, yeah, it's 10-10 at the end of the game, but you can't win a game 10-10. You can win a game 14-10. And that was really the best scoring chance that they got the rest of the game. So I thought it was fine to keep your foot on the gas there. I always think it's fine. And when your defense is playing as well as Denver's defense did, like you're going to get the ball back with pretty good field position in a couple plays and have a chance to just kick another field goal. Like I like being aggressive always. I think all these take the points narratives after it already happens and after, it fails and everybody's like, why would they do that?
We've got second quarter, 9 minutes, 28 seconds. Denver's up 7-0. They have 4th and 1 at the New England 14. recommendation is medium for a field goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was surprised by it too, but I kind of get it. I mean, I don't know, especially if you had known the way the weather was going to turn. Actually, I think I agree. It does make a difference because by halfway through the third quarter, like the game had really turned into like a field position war. And at that point, it's like scoring is at such a premium. And I don't know, like it's so tough because I understand if your defense is playing great, like trust them. I get it. But I think it's possible that was an overreach. You might have taken the 2 possessions there.
Look, I like 4th and 1 going for it and all that stuff because of the analytics. I'm saying trust the math and trust the science of it and trust the computers who have looked at every single situation over, decades now and spit out these answers. Like that's probably something the stats do know. All right. I don't know if they know how to measure guard value or, how much what a safety is doing like 100% yet. But I do think like they have a pretty good idea what's the optimal decision on 4th down. And that's really thinking about that is what makes me so gung-ho about going for it. So the fact that the numbers say, hey, maybe you should have kicked it, I'm down to listen to the calculators, man.
It's crazy how the game played out from there, which is they missed it. They never got in quite that good a position again. They gave a touchdown to New England, basically, on offense.
Yes. Yeah.
And then New England gets one more field goal. You miss your next field goal, and you never score again for the rest of the game. And then it's over and you lose 10-7. That's crazy.
Do they even pick up another first down the rest of the game?
It's a great question.
I'm sure they get one more first down.
I don't know.
Harvey was moving. Harvey.
They did before half.
True. You're right. Yes, they did. But they didn't get a first down the entire second half.
Holy cow.
Really?
Their drives, there were only 3 total possessions in the third quarter. The Patriots get a field goal coming out. The Broncos punt in 3 plays. Then in the fourth quarter, they punt in. They got a first down on their second drive of the fourth quarter. 6 plays, 17 yards. There we go.
They found one in the fourth quarter.
They got one.
Their pass rate did have a 0%. Their pass game did have a 0% success rate in the second half. Yes.
Brutal.
The run game did have a 57. They had 7 attempts, 22 yards, 57% success rate. Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah, it was a killer loss for the Broncos because I do feel like in some ways they were the better team. I know their players said that after the game, like I know we were the better team. And of course that's somewhat cope. You lost. You're not the better team that day. But man, the Patriots really were on the ropes in that first half, man. Like I was thinking there's really not a huge path to victory because of the difference in the trenches and the fact that they can't really get much pressure on the Stidham and the fact that they can't separate on the back end. And it was like, whew, like what are they gonna do? But at the end of the day, it is hard to hold a lead when you can't run the ball. And that was true on the first drive kind of going through is this isn't a really scary team that can just salt you away. So you're just kind of waiting for the Stidham fuck up. Like you're like, man, if Stidham doesn't mess this up, like the Broncos are the better team. Like they are going to win.
If they had Knicks, I think they win. I do.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. And then he did.
Purely hypothetical, but
yeah, I do think they go to the Super Bowl with Knicks. Yeah.
But they lost a brutal close game with a bunch of like high leverage plays going. I mean, they had a lot of high leverage plays go against them in large part because they did not have their quarterback.
I don't think May got that first down. I don't think May got that first down.
I don't think he got that thing at all. I don't necessarily blame him for the spot on the field. I understand that those are like dang near impossible from the angle those were. I mean, like, how can you judge that? It's a big pile of bodies and you're just kind of guessing, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that it's hard to overturn, but like from that top angle, dude, it did not look like
it looked like his head got there. It looks like his head got there, but he doesn't carry the ball in his mouth.
You can't.
I get you. You have to keep the precedent of if you can't actually see the ball. But then it's also hard to know. It's like, okay, well, when does this stop? Like, when is the forward progress called, or when is it like, no, this is still live play wriggling going on? You know,
QB
it's a very difficult play.
Yeah.
Well, and they called that fumble. I can't believe they called that dead, because I'm like, dude, that should be a fumble touchdown return. But because they call it dead, then it's only they get it at the spot, and the Patriots still score a touchdown on that drive. But
they really need to
weird.
figure out the live play fumble pass. They don't have a good feel for that. I thought what they were moving towards is like, we're just calling everything a fumble and letting it play out, and then we'll judge afterwards. But then you run into the issue of like, first off, they don't even seem to do that consistently. But then on top of that, there's the issue of, well, if you're going to call it that for the sake of like, not because it's what you think happened and that's your ruling in real time, but because you know it's harder to go back on a ruling that it wasn't a fumble, then your level of proof you need to overturn it actually needs to be lower on those type of plays. It can't be like, well, we have to call it a fumble because otherwise we won't know how the play played out. And then we get to, it's like, well, we called it a fumble, so it's got to stay a fumble. Now, that wasn't the issue here. They go the opposite way where they don't call it, and then they, you know, the Patriots didn't end up getting screwed. They ended up scoring, so ball don't lie, luckily for the refs. But
yeah,
their whole process with that has been spotty all year, I thought.
I think they should just call it a fumble. I don't know why. I agree with you, Matt. Like, I thought that was the precedent that they were moving towards, but it feels like they really haven't followed through on that.
It drives me nuts. It's some of the thing. It's maybe the thing the refs are the worst at, because that situation will happen. A hand gets knocked or whatever it is that makes it seem like it could be a fumble, but we don't really know because.
And then the whistle blows immediately.
And here's the whistle doesn't blow immediately. The whistle never blows.
They're unsure. Yes, that's a great point. They're always like, it always gets picked up, and then it's like, is there a whistle?
There is
the
no
announcers
whistle.
don't know.
There is no whistle. There is never a whistle. And then the guy is 3 feet away from crossing the end zone, and then the whistle blows. And that's what happened in that scenario, and it happens all the time. If you pay attention to these plays, like, they're confused, they're looking around, someone picks it up, they're running towards the end zone. When they're running towards the end zone, the whistle blows.
That's a great point.
Why not let it play out at that point? Because now you've just blown the whistle. There's a clear recovery. There's someone headed towards the end zone, and then you just cancel the whole thing. Like, either blow it immediately or don't blow it at all and just go and wait and see. And why not just not blow it at all? Like, why not just not blow it at all? I don't mind instant replays on a cool play. Like, I like instant replays. I like challenges. I like when we gotta like do some sleuthing and figure out what happened. So just let it play out and then we'll see. Like, that doesn't really take away from the game in a crazy way to me. So they really suck at blowing whistles on QB sneaks. They don't know when to blow the whistle, and they don't know when to blow the whistle.
The QB sneaks, I'm willing to give them a pass on because it is hard to see what's going on in a massive pile of bodies.
I think they should blow the whistle earlier. I think the standard for forward progress being stopped can be slightly
but I feel
more.
like they've been letting it ride on like running back carries too. Obviously, we're gonna get into the Seahawks game, but like there were a lot of K9 carries in that game where they could have blown the whistle and he just kind of kept churning, broke another tackle.
Yeah, maybe don't leave that at the discretion of the refs and just blow it when you're really sure that everything's stopped. But even when they blew the whistle, I don't think May got there on 4th and 1. And I think Vrabel, it was weird to me because Vrabel didn't challenge it before. Like, right before that play, they threw a tight end screen and Hunter Henry reached for it, and I thought he got there. And then they said 4th and 1. And it's like, oh man, I really think they got there. Like, they could challenge that. And then they get lined up, and then Vrabel calls a timeout. Bro, challenge the play. And then you can talk about what
I agree. I thought that was a weird piece of
and then if you're right, you get the first, and if you're not right, then you lose the timeout, but you just took the
anyway.
Timeout. Why I was blown away by that moment. Like, bro, throw the challenge flag if you want a timeout here. Like, why are you calling the timeout with no chance to overturn it? And then they should have gotten turned away.
That's so weird, and because they nailed the like game management stuff right before halftime, where like May slides and they get the timeout in. So it's weird that they didn't get that one. Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, Vrabel had a weird game. He was up and down. I really thought they were conservative. Even before the snow started, they were very conservative. It was like a draw on 3rd down. There was a tight end screen on 3rd down. There was like a power play.
They kind of got completely proven right by the way the game went, unfortunately. Like Denver, May has made a ton of like mistakes dropping back. Whether or not you want to blame him or Will Campbell, who didn't look that good in this game again, or whatever, they have given up the ball a ton and taken horrible sacks a ton. And there's very easily a world where we're sitting here saying the 6th sack that May took because they kept dropping back was the strip sack touchdown. So I think being conservative, chewing up the clock and saying, okay, it's 10-7, Stidham, let's do it. Like, you gotta drive down and score on us. I think they completely nailed that. I think they're in the Super Bowl because of that, honestly.
Conserve ball wins. I mean, the tight end screen did work and the draw did work. And then on another 3rd down, it didn't work. And I was like, why are they being so conservative? No, it worked. It worked.
Nothing's worse when the second long run works. You're like, you got lucky this one.
You got lucky.
I would advise emptying the chamber a little bit more next game, but we'll see.
Probably because the Seahawks offense is better, which we will get into.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get into. Well, but Theo, before we get into that, you wanted to tell us about our good friends over at Square.
Yes, Blaiden, support for today's episode comes from Square, and they've got big news. During Square's biannual releases event, they launched a wave of innovative new tools to help local businesses run faster, smarter, and more profitably. From AI that answers your toughest business questions to tech that simplifies food orders and tracks every dollar, it's all live, and it's built for businesses like yours. Whether you're starting fresh or scaling fast, Square helps you keep up and get ahead. And right now, listeners can get up to $200 off Square hardware when you sign up at square.com/go/stayhot. That's SQUARE.com/go/stayhot. Visit Square to get started, because the right tools make all the difference. I visited.
I was just gonna say, like, dude, we just made Stay Hot a business, and if we were, selling merch over at the Super Bowl Media, we'd probably use Square.
Oh yes, I visited Rooster Cat in Denver, one of my favorite coffee shops in this city, and they use Square.
Hey.
And they're a great business, and checkout is very smooth. Everything there is pristine. I go there all the time and watch film, and I don't know if that happens without Square.
Hey.
I'm furious I don't have a small business, so I can't use Square.
You're a 1/3 owner of Stay Hot. What do you mean, Matt? We can.
This is a podcast. You can make it Stay Hot LLC. It's
still a podcast.
It's still a podcast.
Well,
yes.
we're gonna buy merch. We're gonna buy our merch to have on site, and when we go to San Francisco, we're gonna carry around the Square reader, and people are gonna buy our merch from us in person.
We do dozens of dollars in deals, man.
We would do
Dozens of dollars. Well, if you're looking to do more than dozens, this is designed to give local businesses a competitive edge without the complexity. If you are ready to If you are ready to sell smarter, run faster, and stress less right now, again, you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/stayhot. Again, that's SQUARE.com/go/stayhot. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today.
Seattle Seahawks beat the LA Rams. A little bit more offense in this one. Sam Darnold, 3 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford, 3 touchdowns. This is the game that everyone was hoping to see.
This is the game the dome crowd wants to see every game, and I do get it. I do get it.
Fun.
It is pretty electric to see 2 quarterbacks melt your face off, and that is what happened.
But it didn't take a dome to do it this time around, and it was an awesome game. I mean, I thought what stuck out to me is the star skill players for Seattle first and foremost. I mean, JSN, the best route runner in the NFL. I think not even a question right now.
Yeah,
it's just unbelievable. And then on top of that, I mean, but they used him. You saw every aspect of his game. You saw that, like we're going to throw a screen to him and he's going to be strong after the catch. You saw like his hands and his body control, even on like, plays that weren't huge. It's amazing how good he is. And like, it's crazy. He's living up to like the Rose Bowl against Utah hype. That's what he's done this year.
He's Justin Jefferson. He's Justin Jefferson, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
it's incredible. It's incredible how good he is. And the thing is like his whole time at Ohio State, like he had that awesome game at Utah. And it's like, oh, this is the next guy for OSU. And he's like the best one yet. And it's like, okay, it's a high bar. And then the next season, he's banged up the entire year, right? And you don't ever quite see him in full force. And it's like, okay, then he goes in the 20s because he's really not that big. That's a big part of the reason why I think he fell in the draft and he was banged up or whatever. And it's a couple of years, it's like, oh, you just don't see, he's good, but is he crazy? This year, he's put it all together. It's been fantastic. And then another guy who's put it all together, contract year at a good time too. Kenneth Walker, dude, had some ridiculous plays today. Now, his efficiency wasn't super crazy either. Rams defense is, good up front and whatnot. But, was it Spates who got in the backfield on that play? And Walker jukes him out of his shoes and turns it into a big game. 48, am I remembering that correctly?
I think you're thinking of Byron Young, who he turned around and then he made somebody else miss, which may have been Spades.
Okay.
Space.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable play. And just, the Rams are a defense that I feel like can struggle sometimes with leaky yards, check downs that they let go a little bit too long, that type of stuff. Kenneth Walker is very much a leaky yard getter, and we saw him take a couple of those and turn them into much more than they should have been.
Dude, you're absolutely right that like there's two players on the Seahawks that just make them seem like the sickest team of all time, and it's JSN and K9, man. Like it's unbelievable the skill level on display. And I want to continue to wax poetic about Jackson Smith and Jigba because the performance was that good. The one-handed catch, just kind of I don't know if it was his first catch, but glue. Right, that ball hits his hands. He never tucks it. Right, he doesn't tuck it into his chest. It just hits it and it stops, and that's the end of the story. Like he has another play before halftime. Right, that the Rams just answered. Right, and it looks like the Seahawks might be losing going into halftime. But then they put this quick drive together that's all JSN because Darnold hits him on an out route, and he's being contacted as he's catching the ball. Like the corner comes in and shoots his hands. I think the corner even hits the ball, and JSN kind of bobbles it from one arm over to the other. He bobbles it from his right arm over to his left or something like that, like threw the punch through his hands. And even though this was like beautiful coverage, like there was a coverage rep late in the game on Shaheed where Kobe Durant came and punched it out, right? And it went out because it wasn't JSN catching it, it was Shaheed.
Right.
And it feels like, oh, well, what can the receiver do when the defense plays it that well? JSN was in that same scenario earlier, and he caught it on the sideline for a first down. And then right after that, he splits the safeties, right, going up the seam. And the ball is in the air for a while. He's running under it. The safety is running towards him. And, like, he slows up and almost, like, jukes the safety out before he even catches it and then reaches his hands out to grab it. And so it's just not as much contact with his body. Like the way he stopped and the way he grabbed it with his hands and then brought it back towards him instead of running through the catch in that moment. Like he is a computer. His brain is like a supercomputer when the ball is in the air. It is like really Neo from the Matrix shit when the ball is in the air. I've seen him break down on all fours and almost like army crawl like to make a catch. Whatever position his body needs to be in to make the catch, he will get there. He will get there in like a very stable and solid way. It's not like the Odell Beckham catch over and over again. It's not like, I don't know it's not like Puka necessarily like just mossing people and just being like a physical beat. It is literally like solving the problem with his brain and like getting his body in the right position to be as efficient at the catch point as possible. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I really do think on some level because JSN is a little bit smaller and because of like, I don't know, how he makes those highlight catches or how he tracks the ball, I think the aesthetic of it isn't quite as as great or as, I don't want to know, noticed. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. But these guys who like these super physical contested catch guys, I feel like everybody always loves them, and rightfully so. These guys who are like huge and trucking people after the catch are always getting the most love. But JSN is, in this game we saw really good after the catch. Made guys miss quickly after catching it. Did a good job turning upfield multiple times. The play where he caught it on the sideline and then like slipped forward and got an extra 4 yards by tight roping down the sideline because his body control is that good. That might not like look as cool as Gronk trucking somebody or whatever, but like he's really good at that. Or like a lot of these plays he's making on the ball, you're absolutely right. I just think he's phenomenal. It's unbelievable the leap he's taken this year and how good he's been. And the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl. I think they got a real good chance to win it. They're an awesome, really well-rounded team. But watching this game, I'm a little salty. I'm like, man, couldn't you guys been a really well-rounded team that threw the ball 620 times or something like that and got this guy like 2,100 yards or something? Oh, he could have had that record on a team that was serious about like putting the ball in the air a ton. So he's incredible. He is an incredible player.
Is he the best receiver on the planet?
I still look at Puka, and as aesthetically pleasing as he is, and JSN maybe isn't as big, Puka did have the highest contested catch percentage in the league this year. And he did have the most yards after catch in the league this year, just point blank period. And he did have the most yards per route run, and he also had a ridiculous.
You've seen that. You've seen that video. He can't beat man coverage. He can't beat man coverage.
And guess what? I think Puka is a very good route runner, and sometimes it doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing as JSN because he doesn't have the stability but sometimes he just runs through a motherfucker's face, and it's like that's good route running if you really think about it. Like. Hey. I think there are some things about Puka's game where it's not aesthetically true. It's rugged and not aesthetically pleasing. But
I guess a better point is like JSN, don't typecast him as this small receiver and like he's just not that big. I think size in receivers is just a little bit overrated in general. I really do.
Sorry, he's not AJ Brown, big dog. He's still good.
And it's not that size isn't good. It's not that doing that type of stuff isn't good, but it's not everything.
AJ Brown isn't everything like that tall.
But he's built. He's physical. You know what it is.
He is a big guy. But I mean, JSN is like I said, he's Justin Jefferson. Like someone told me I was the number one JSN hater in my comment section today. It's like literally that's
because we just had a debate on it.
We just had a debate. Are you the number one Puka hater, Matt? I don't think you are. I just think
if that's what it takes to really ride with JSN, yes. I think Puka's been incredible this year too. I think he's phenomenal, but
look at the head-to-heads, man.
Well, Puka had more yards than JSN today because
but JSN won the game.
That is true.
JSN won the NFC Championship game and had a better game today. Look, he's special. He really is. He, like I said, he's got the same skill set as I think Justin Jefferson. I think it's really the same shit. And I defended Justin Jefferson over Jamar Chase last year, even though Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown. I thought just the way Jefferson runs route and the way he tracks the ball in the air and the way he's able to kind of solve problems on the fly and be this matrix when the ball enters his airspace. That is what I thought separated him from Chase. And I look at JSN and I look at Puka these days, and I'm like, dude, they've got all that like crazy problem solving on a dime as the ball is coming towards them in the same way that Jefferson does.
I agree. And I think just in general, that's the number one trait for receivers. It's hard to rank that type of stuff, but above all, I think ball tracking is just impossible. I think it's so difficult. And I think there's such a limit on guys who can really do it at the highest level. And when you look at all the guys, I mean, obviously it's like, you got to be clean route runners and you got to be physically imposing one way or another. And it's like your release has to be good. There's a lot of that goes into playing any positions, but like when it comes to like, what do you want out of receiver? One thing, Give me a guy who can track the ball and make a play on it. That's going to make life so much easier on receivers. Like Tyreek Hill, like he was so fast, but he could track the ball. He would run back 7 yards for the ball, and that's what made him different. Because
Deshaun Jackson,
Deshaun Jackson, he's not the first guy to be fast in the NFL at receiver, of course. There's a million guys. Why do all of those other speedsters fail? Part of it is that they get in the league, and then it's like you're trying to hit a penny down the sideline, and you've got to get it right on the money. They don't know where the ball is, and then it falls 2 yards behind them to the right or something. It's like, man, you could have made a play on that ball. I'm sure it's impossible. I know it is.
Tyler Lockett was a demon for a long time in Seattle just because he was like the best over-the-shoulder ball tracker in the league. He was perfect at it. It is very much a skill. Like the number one thing you learn is when you're learning to play receivers, you catch with your eyes first.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't see the ball, like you could have the strongest hands in the world, but if you don't see defensive linemen, how many of them have ridiculously strong hands? Offensive tackles, how many of them have ridiculously strong hands and good hand-eye coordination? But if you don't see the ball, you don't know where to put your hands. You don't know how to orient your hands. You don't know how to orient your body. It makes everything harder if you don't know where the ball is and you don't know how the ball's falling towards you.
Yeah.
So
I love Brady mentioning on the broadcast too that his shoulders never dip or move around, and it's always like steady in his upper half. Like that's the other thing that immediately stands out to me about JSN is like he's running and there's no wiggle. There's no like, oh, I'm running and I'm pumping my arms. And if you're watching me on YouTube right now, you'll see like, oh, my head is bobbing back and forth because I'm running. JSN, it's like straight, and I've called him before like an owl, right? Like where you can move him around and his head would stay. That's what it's like when you watch it. It's like this guy is not human; he's an animal. Like this guy is evolved. He's part of the mutant cyborg era. Even though he's a littler dude and isn't this combine burner, he's part of the mutant cyborg era because it is like truly like next gen human shit that he does. It's fucking crazy.
Watch the best track runners in the world. Their head is perfectly still when they're sprinting down.
I think it's true of a lot of the top athletes.
Look at Noah Lyles. You know, his head is still. Usain Bolt, his head was still. Christian Coleman in the 60s, his head is. It's perfect. So.
There's a rep of Puka where this is so clear. Against the Lions, he runs a double move and he flies by the corner and he's so still. Like everything about him is just so calm and if you put a tracker on his head, it would be straight. And then the corner that's running slower than him because he's behind him is like running his head is going back and forth. It's DJ Reed. Like it's all this panic and movement. And then you look at Puka and it's just like, this calm washes over you. It's that's why I like Dante more, by the way. And the Oregon Duck. I know he fell off and is went back to school and his reputation is in the mud and he's too small and missed a bunch of big opportunities downfield.
But he's smart enough, but he's aware enough.
Clip him throwing the ball in his head, and you'll be back in. That shit is still.
How tall is Dante Moore, man?
I don't know, but shout out the Pacific Northwest. Shout out Dante Moore. Shout out Jackson Smith and Jigba. Shout out K9, who should just have been used by like Bijan Robinson over the course of this whole season, but I guess it's good. Better late than never.
He still does bounce, like he tries to bounce everything outside all the time. I just want to say, like, it's not like he's stopped doing that. And to be fair, like that touchdown he had, all right, fair enough. Like there's a reason why he can do that. And he is a level of guy where it's like, yeah, he's making it work. But there are just a number of runs where it's like, even that one I was talking about earlier, that ends with him like just cutting directly into a defender because he wants to get lateral and he's about to get tackled.
There was one really bad. Yeah. That run. I was thinking of the wrong play earlier. I was looking at a stat and missed. He did make Spates miss in the hole. I was thinking the check down he caught where he pirouetted on like 3rd and 8 or whatever, and then made another guy miss on that. I don't want to
even be negative about K9. That wasn't my point. I'm just saying like.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm just correcting my. He did cut back.
I'm always more of a north-south running back guys who can do a little to break free. K9 is like 99th percentile, the artist running back. And fair enough, bro.
I think he gets north and south though. I think he learns from his mistake because I noticed that same thing. At the end of that run. It was like there's one too many cuts in there, buddy. If you see a double, split a double. And then later in the game, he is seeing a guy in front of him, and he hits like this third gear in the hole and lowers his shoulder and runs.
His acceleration's unbelievable on some of those plays, dude. It is ridiculous.
It's not always cutting around. There is some like. I feel like he kind of looks at it on tape and says, next time I might do this. Now, maybe it only lasts that one run because he does bounce. But
his lateral quickness
there is some north and south, lower the shoulder aspect to his game. It's not pure. I'm cutting inside.
We saw a lot of power running from K9 in this game, and that was really good to see. So.
Dude, Henderson, by the way, Travion Henderson had an egregious bounce today.
Yeah.
He got the ball on a power play, and he bounced that shit outside of the pullers when there was like this wide open lane.
This is always an issue with him. It is, and he's one of those guys where he's supremely talented. There's no denying that. But like, we'll have to watch him. He's got to get better with that.
He's got to get better because
I mean, how many carries did he have today? Like
hardly
two?
Any. Hardly any. And it's a defense where if you toss it off to the right, if you toss it off to Jonathan Cooper's side, we saw it against the Bills. There's creases there for a guy like Travion Henderson to maybe score a 50-yard touchdown if you toss it out to him. And I don't think they ran toss the entire game to Travion Henderson. And it's like, why would you not try that once after James Cook had all these success? Toss right. I was like, man, you get a guy like Travion Henderson the ball in that situation, he might score on some of these.
Dude.
And they never tried it.
The only reason I wanted to see Denver in the Super Bowl was so that Matt and I could go talk to Jonathan
I didn't even
Cooper.
think about that. That would have been sick, actually. We went to your... He had a sack today, thank you.
Yes. Respect Jonathan Cooper.
You're the number one. Don't comment that this guy's the number one JSN hater. He's the number one Jonathan Cooper hater. He's the only Jonathan.
I'm just saying, toss to the right, pin and pull on Jonathan Cooper. Had some success and this seemed like a Travion Henderson kind of game, maybe. And they did not trust him after that bounce.
Well, I also think he's just like too bad in pass pro. Like that.
Yeah, there is some and Stevenson has been kind of balling in pass pro.
It's been surprising. That one I can't say I saw coming.
It's been really bad.
But man, it's tough because I thought during the season, Henderson got a little better, and I was like, dang, okay, Henderson's talent like eventually is going to shine through because I wasn't quite as high on him, but it's still been an issue. It's a long career though, and we've seen guys take a couple of seasons before they really take off. I'd say that's kind of true about K9, although you could make the argument that their offensive line was just so bad, or like obviously Derrick Henry. Henry had to like go find himself one off season and then turned into a Hall of Famer, which is sweet. That's one of my all time favorite NFL career stories. Is that like he was a Heisman, he was awesome, he was on stuff. Like gets into the NFL, it's just not right. And it was like Eddie George or who? Yeah. Eddie George is like, bro, you have to become the animal or whatever, and then he totally does, and he's gonna be like a first ballot Hall of Famer or something like that now. That's sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably what the longest, most prolific running back career since AP.
Yeah, when he had his 45% success rate year 2 and hasn't been below. Well, he was actually below that his 2021 season, but every other year
Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah,
are those the only guys that come to mind that are like up there with Derrick Henry in recent memory? Yeah.
In terms of a full career,
LT, AP,
Folk?
I feel like there's someone obvious I'm missing. Folk, I don't consider him recent because I never watched him.
Had a crazy career. Yeah, it does feel like
there's someone obvious I missed.
You'd be surprised how many great running backs who are like first team all pro. Saquon's about
Derek,
there, but that's
already.
Yeah, Depends on how much you value the ring. I'd say not much for running back legacy talk, but obviously it's the ultimate goal, I guess.
I mean, Saquon, that ring also was like the
but
best
it was a
running
lot
back
of
season
him
ever.
on that too. It was like that was such
that
like
was like the bloodiest
crazy
running back
season.
ring ever. Like,
yeah, so I don't want to say that he wasn't like the man on a championship team. But you know what I mean? It's not like I'm sitting here like Derrick Henry doesn't have a ring because he sucks, bro.
We're kind of burying the lead here.
Well,
Derrick Henry.
what we should talk about, that's another great story. It's fire that Darnold has made the Super Bowl. He's gone from seeing ghosts to being in the Super Bowl. Now, I thought he played a good game.
He played a fantastic game, I thought. Like, I thought he played like just as good as Stafford, honestly, is what I thought.
I thought Stafford played a pretty good game too.
Stafford maybe had more high-end throws at the end of it. So maybe he didn't outplay Stafford, but like, dude, Darnold had a lot of really high-end short throws, I thought. Like the amount of times where he got through all of his reads and stood in the pocket, like he might, with the way he's played this playoffs, you probably prefer him to Drake May going into the Super Bowl because of these kinds of plays where he just stood in there, and got all the way to the backside.
There was some sliding around in the pocket too. I'm like, nice, because that's really the swing factor for Darnold is that type of stuff.
Yeah, like I just don't think he like misreads to take sacks, and the pocket was bad for a lot of these plays. The touchdown to JSN right before was that again the JSN drive right before halftime. I think that all happened on the same drive. Like he's getting crushed when he throws that. It's a blown coverage, but he's getting crushed. And he moved around, like he was sidearming throws. Like every time he booted out, like he hit the throw, like he just always found a target. And some of that's on the wide receivers and somewhat easy when JSN runs the prettiest route you've ever seen in your life. But yeah, he was money in the biggest game of his life when they needed to put up points. He needed to carry them, and he did.
Yeah, especially when the Rams really started to lock in on stopping the run game, that really then rides on Sam Darnold. And you see they love to hit this boot, they love to the play action boot with Darnold, but when they run the ball twice in a row and then it's 3rd and long, you can't really do that on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9, and Darnold came through in a lot of those moments, and that's really what you want to see from a quarterback going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, yeah, shout out Darnold, but you're also
poor
right
Vikings.
that Stafford plays poor Vikings.
Dude, they could be in the Super Bowl, dude. Like they literally could be. They could be the Seattle Seahawks. Like they could be the Seattle Seahawks. They have a great receiver. They probably have a better receiver too.
I can't tell you how much this whole storyline has changed my perspective on that. Like obviously, like I was like, yeah, you have to see what you have in JJ McCarthy. And I know it's hindsight 2020, but like it can be done without a top 1 quarterback. It's difficult, but it can be done. And it's tough, I guess, because what we're forgetting is that like Darnold played really bad in the playoffs.
And he played bad in the Detroit game. And he played bad in the Detroit.
And this is the thing is that like on some level it's tough for Minnesota because they walked into the playoffs they had a JSN, they had a Justin Jefferson, they had a 14-win season, they had a great defense, and Darnold just completely, just destroyed that season for them,
right?
And in some ways, and destroyed the playoffs. But like maybe. Obviously, looking at it now, not great. And it's awesome that
not great. And guess what? Darrisaw going down destroyed the playoffs for them too. And the offensive line going down destroyed the playoffs for them too. And their problem was drafting McCarthy. All right. Their problem was drafting JJ McCarthy because you draft him and you start Darnold, and Darnold's playing really well. And the question arises, like, what do you do next year? What do you do next year? Do you start Darnold or do you go with the other guy? And when Darnold sucked at the end and they lost.
They didn't start Darnold. McCarthy got hurt.
They were
That's true.
Darnold. We don't know.
There's no guarantee. There's no
They might
guarantee
not
that
have.
McCarthy doesn't.
Darnold was only getting like 10 mil for 1 year. It's like that's about like pretty good that's like very good backup
But
money.
knowing what we know, Darnold would have outplayed McCarthy in preseason practice.
Sure, but like
Darnold
didn't McCarthy have like a good preseason game though?
He had a good preseason game, but so
he had a lot of yards. I remember it well.
That Raiders game, Darnold came in, made some great throws, made some fantastic throws against Max Crosby and the Raiders starters. Then JJ McCarthy comes in on the next drive, throws a pick to Jack Jones. Jack Jones immediately. Jack Jones, shout out to him. I'm holding his jersey right now, the Patriots jersey. I have it on hand. He threw a pick to Jack Jones when the starters were out there. All right, he goes to the bench all sad. He comes out again. The backups are in now. And then he starts to have some good games, and then he tears his meniscus. But we know what 9 is like, and we know what Sam Darnold is like. I'm convinced that Viking staff would have been able to look at these performances through the preseason and practice and say,
all right, regardless,
the problem was they took McCarthy in the first place, and then they had this big decision, and it felt like Darnold answered that big decision by
I remember very specifically what my thinking on it was. I don't want to speak for you guys, but my thought was like, okay, well, McCarthy was a top 10 pick, and if you have to pay Darnold so much that he's locked into being your starter, I think you got to see what McCarthy is, because the highest end outcome is obviously you have this guy who is this next level of quarterback on a rookie deal. And like, that's the most typical Super Bowl path, right? You get the guys on a cheap deal or whatever. You have like one of like the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL or whatnot. And I just think it's kind of like sunk cost fallacy as much as anything to be like, well, you've already spent the pick, so you might as well. I just don't know if that's good analysis looking back on it. And I wonder about what the worst case scenario, if like they had been like, we're bringing Darnold back, he's our starter, and we're just going to have McCarthy we're just going to like Rodgers McCarthy or something like that. What would have been the worst case scenario? McCarthy is really good, it turns out, and you unnecessarily paid Darnold. That's probably not even that bad. Even if that was the case, could you have traded Darnold the next offseason or something like that? And maybe got some assets for it? I feel like it could have been super possible. So, yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah, do it. And I didn't think signing Darnold was the greatest move for Seattle. I didn't think that he had even another step. And I didn't think the situation was going to be as good. And obviously with Jason breaking out, that's changed. So it's tough for me to sit here and say, yeah, the stupid Vikings, when, you know, I didn't have Darnold as this type of guy for sure.
We all would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
I might not have drafted McCarthy.
It really goes far back to McCarthy. Like that's where we can sit here and say the Stay Hot podcast. I think I'm on record being in a mock draft before that draft and picking Byron Murphy with that pick. And then they could really be the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be good.
So
I'm sure
they just shouldn't have done that.
They shouldn't have done that. And you know what? Looking back now, and I'm thinking about this right now, going back to like how many good playoff performer quarterbacks are there, right? How many guys actually have that label? Like, is it really fair to be like, oh, Sam Darnold had this great regular season and then folded in the playoffs, when we do the same thing for Herbert, we do the same thing for Allen, now we do the same thing for Burrow? Like,
I think there's some truth to that, but Darnold truly had a very bad game, whereas some of the other guys, they'll play like decent or something like that, and then they'll make it a handful of times, and they'll have a mix of good and bad games against, you know, generally tough defenses, but then they'll have no ring and they'll be in MVP talk. So I was like, okay, well, this guy's just a loser. That's also part of the equation there, but I think you're right. I mean, like, a playoff game is a small sample size. That's totally true.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter until it does. Like,
right.
It doesn't matter, or it doesn't happen until it does. Also, shout out Josh Allen today, kind of vindicated a little bit. Like, at least he scored points against the Broncos defense, you know. I think if I'm a Bills fan, I hate to say this, like, I'm as sick as hell watching that game go down. Yeah. You watch it and you're like, dang, man, like, Buffalo, they should have beaten Denver. They shouldn't have turned the ball over 5 times. And
if that's the state that the Patriots are in, I mean, who knows? Maybe the pass rush just isn't the level it needs to be to really bother May and whatever. But like, it feels like this really was the golden opportunity.
Yes.
And
yeah, again, it on one hand, it is fair to hold Allen accountable for the worst moment of his career, and on the other hand,
they wouldn't trade him, you know.
well, sure, yeah, no shit, they wouldn't trade him. But on one hand, it's you got to hold him accountable for that moment in that game. But at the other hand, he's a playoff loser for a performance where he didn't punt against that defense and really made some incredible plays and moved the ball. Like, that's one of those performances where it's like, well, there's like some nuance to it. Like
there's some nuance to it. I mean, I don't even think that Allen is some like horrible playoff performer. I mean, on some level, if we start going down that rabbit hole, then it's like, well, May has had not a great playoff run, and Herbert's coming off a stinker, and Lamar is not, won a ton, and he's actually been reasonably up and down in the playoffs. Although I kind of think he's a different QB than he was like back in like 2019 or 2020 or whatever. But like, I also think that Buffalo's offense succeeded in large part because of the offensive line in that game, and the run game was really good. Yeah, they built a lot off of that. That's not to say that I disagree with the idea that like Allen did not play that bad for the number of turnovers that he had. And like, yes, I moved the ball well against a Broncos defense that is clearly pretty stout. But when I compare it to the Patriots offense, my first thought is they want to do the same thing as Buffalo. They just don't have the horses to actually go and do it. And while May is part of the issue with that, the problem actually starts in the trenches for them. That's true. Now, this is all to say they're still in the Super Bowl. So I feel like we're being too negative about a Patriots team that's in the Super Bowl now. It is crazy.
I'm going to run some Patriots propaganda when we prep the Super Bowl. Like I don't think this is a 14-win team. We're moved on from the Seahawks, but they had the best record in the league, and they were the number one offensive EPA team in the regular season, and their defense is playing like this right now. Like, I think the Bengals team that made the Super Bowl a few years ago was worse than this, and that was a decent game against a good Rams
interesting
team.
That Bengals defense was good. That Bengals defense was pretty good.
It was pretty good, and Burrow was very good, and Chase and T. Higgins were very, very, very good.
Their offensive line was bad.
Their offensive line was like and Manny and CEO of Blue Wire Kevin Jones. Like, it was literally
they were starting guys that like then went on to never play in the league again. That type of stuff. It was like that was their final start, was the Super Bowl and whatever. And they had offensive issues even with Burrow and the wide receivers. Like, Burrow's stat lines from those games, from that play, a lot of them not that good, So right. I think there's them versus that Bengals team. But that Bengals team is also kind of like, frankly, the story is not done being written, I guess, on the Patriots is what I'm getting at. Yeah. Because what could happen if the Patriots go and, like, let's say they get blown out, then it's like, this is the worst team that's made the Super Bowl since, I don't even know who you'd go back to. If they play close, like the Bengals played close, it'd be like, on some level, it was a magical run. On some level, it's like they had some pretty clear flaws. But if they fight hard, or if they win, of course, then I don't think anybody will say that.
When the game ended tonight, the Seahawks game ended, the line was 3.5 for the Seahawks. And that's a small line considering, I think, where the public is at. I think it immediately went up to 4.5. And I just think Vegas might be onto something, that it's not going to be this massive blowout, or that the Patriots aren't really this complete nothing team that made it. Again,
I don't think they're a complete nothing. I think their defense has legitimately been very, very, very good.
You giving them that credit is more than like the public opinion on them right
the
now.
Issue, what scares me about them is, like, in this game, they really struggled with their offensive identity. And Drake May, who, how we feel about Drake May on this podcast, but he has struggled mightily. He struggled really bad, and it's gotten to the point where they have to be more conservative. I just wonder if that's going to be a really tough way to win against an awesome Seattle defense that usually does a very good job swarming and taking away leaky yards and playing downhill and locking everything up. And it's like, this is a team that I just don't, they have guys who are good around May, like, Diggs has been good, and we talked about Booty earlier and whatnot, but these aren't like totally dominant game changers in the way that I think a lot of other teams have. They're guys who are capable of big performances, but they're not like first team all pros or whatever. And I just wonder if, I just wonder if Seattle has a big advantage on that side of the ball.
Well, we'll see, because Seattle's defense did not look.
That's very true.
Unbelievable.
It's not super bulletproof. But we don't want to get into too much of the preview in this game. You know, we know it's not the last call for New England, but it is going to be the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to place your bets before the NFL season closes its tab. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're in on it. If you're a new customer, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. So whether you're backing the favorite, riding the underdog, or building one last same game parlay, make it count. Because after the Super Bowl, the season's over and football is officially done forever. No, just kidding. It's not going to be forever. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com/podcast to get started. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelpline.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or visit 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. The Rams. Yeah, I mean, we talked about Stafford played a really good game. After, we've had this discussion about his MVP case, of course. We feel like he's been less accurate this year than he has been in the past. But in this game, he was very accurate. He made a lot of plays outside of structure, which was...
That 4th and 1 he picked up was so fire.
Nuts.
Old man wanted it. I love that. No, I mean, going into it, he said Stafford's not been in his A game for the playoff games. And if they want to win this one, or if they want to have a good offensive performance, which they did, obviously they didn't win, but you put up 27 and could have put up 30 unless you needed the touchdown like pretty easily.
Right.
I think you feel good about that. And I think Stafford did play a good game where he threw a lot of really accurate passes and did a good job. I mean, he had a couple of times where it's like, all right, he has to get like really off of his spot, and like he just doesn't have the facilities to go and do something great. There's a couple of times you're like, all right, I thought the age is getting to him, but I thought overall he was still very good.
Yeah, he was money. I mean, there's no obvious misses or even interceptable passes, and there is a large discography from this game of dimes, like absolute fucking seeds.
There was one interceptable pass, the
one that Puka.
Woolen jumped it and dropped it. And I think it was Puka that like punched it out at the very end. But
Puka grabbed his wrist. Grabbed his wrist and yanked it away. That was also the Woolen taunting. Did you have any opinion about that play or that penalty call in that moment?
Taunting is such a difficult thing, because I watch these in real time and I'm just like, yeah, you made a sick play. Celebrating feels very relevant in that moment, but I also understand the concept of keeping your composure being part of the game kind of makes sense.
Cornerbacks should be allowed to taunt nobody else.
Corners and nobody else.
I just don't understand. Like, I think taunting doesn't have to be called. Like, if Reek Woolen is not called for that taunting penalty, life absolutely goes on for everybody. I didn't notice it. It has absolutely zero impact on the play whatsoever. Right. It's not like holding or DPI or roughing the punter, like, is kind of after the play. But I don't know. It's sort of during the play. Like, this is completely
roughing the punter is at least like sort of a health and safety thing.
Yeah, this is outside. Nobody is getting hurt. You're absolutely right, Blaiden. It is absolutely a health of the punter thing, and the game gets derailed if the punter is hurt. It's really an emotion call from the ref, right? He's making a judgment call of like, well, is this crossing a line or not? So I don't love taunting as a rule. I don't think it needs to be called there. But what Woolen was doing absolutely was taunting. He was taunting for a long ass time. Even Worry had a bunch of great plays in this game, right? Absolutely fantastic game from that guy. And then after he makes every play, he's just yelling into the air. He's just yelling at nobody. He's just fucking freaking out and screaming into the ether. It's like, that's what you got to do.
I'll say there's certainly a line with taunting at a point. Like if a guy's being really ridiculous or saying something like really awful and won't cut it out, okay, like I can get there has to be a flag at some point. Otherwise, like, you know, some dude's going to take it psychotically far. Or if you're like pushing after the game or after the play or whatever. But I guess here's my thought. Like, what do NFL fans not want to see more? Do they not want to see a guy taunt and be a jerk, or do they not want to see flags affect the game in major ways like that? I think it's the flags. I think one of the most frustrating aspects of football is that, you know, you can get a big stop and then, oh, there's a holding, or you can make a big play and then, oh, it comes back. I mean, when you watched like a kickoff return and it's, you know, the guys reach the 50-yard line, you almost can't even celebrate because you feel like there's like a 40% chance that thing is coming back or whatever. And I'm not saying that there's necessarily anything that the refs can do about that. It's not all the refs' fault. It's just like an unfortunate reality.
Yeah,
like
sometimes big plays are available because there was holding. Like that's why the
free
play
throws
happened.
slow down in, you know, NBA games a little bit, and like sometimes there can be too many of them. But like, you know, on a level, it's like a reality of the sport. I guess you could completely change the rules for that. But like, you get what I'm saying. I just think that, especially in a game like this. So I do subscribe to the idea it's like big game. It's like, I really don't want to call a taunting that gives up a first down like that on a fourth. So I'm just in general against it.
I then fine them after the game. If someone's being out of line and
a fine makes more sense for sure.
If someone's out of line and the refs don't like it, say, we'll fine you after the game. And it'll cost you $50,000, bro. Like that's more money than I'll ever touch in my life. So it clearly might have an effect. But I agree that it's a bad rule, and I didn't like the call. But at the same time, Woolen should celebrate with his teammates instead of barking at the entire Rams bench.
Yeah, I mean, like you know, if you're Woolen, you can't like.
Yeah, right.
You should not do that, dude. Come on, man. Like.
Is there like a Grammys for podcast that we could win? And
yes, yeah, we could be up for an Emmy.
Emmy Pollers.
I think it's an Emmy.
Emmys?
Yeah. I don't think we're quite that level.
Everyone nominate.
All of our friends in the academy.
All of our friends in the academy.
I don't think an Emmy ain't $50,000 either.
Yeah, but if we're winning an Emmy, then we're probably notable enough to be making $50,000.
And we probably have made it over the course of time, but I'm just talking a lump sum.
Yes.
Payment. Blaiden, I know you've got that.
Bro.
So what are you even?
I've had 50,000 cash. I don't have that right now.
You can go say whatever in a game if you want.
Blaiden is sitting in his own home, so like I don't even like we're talking me, okay? So
okay.
Maybe with some better spending.
What happens? What does the NFL do if you're like, I don't got it? They're like, we need. we need.
They probably just take it out of your bro. They probably take it out of your next check.
What if you're done? What if you're cut?
It probably just goes to collections. I don't fucking know, man. You just owe the NFL.
It really was a great play from Woolen, like running under that crossing route and getting his hands on it. It really was a great play that got erased, and then he's emotional, and then they run the double move on him, which is so sick.
Going right at him after that.
Ooh, he wants to redeem himself, and Puka's settling down, and Stafford's pump faking. Ooh, I could make it all back. I can make it all back in one play, and it's a double move.
Taking advantage of him being emotional in that state. Very, very wise, I must say.
Yeah, it was a great offensive game from the Rams. They ran the ball like it was nothing.
They ran the ball like crazy. That was
Shout out
was
Blake
brutal,
Corum, man.
Shout out Blake Corum. Shout out Kevin Dotson, who I think was incredible and missing from their last game.
Yeah,
I think the whole pass protection plan in LA revolves around him being able to just take the 3 technique one-on-one, and double team help can flow everywhere else, and he sets the depth of the pocket beautifully each time. Like I think he's a 2 woke protector of the year pick. Like he is one of the best offensive linemen in the sport, and getting him back for this game, I felt that throughout the entire game was like, Dotson's here, and he can move Leonard Williams. He can move Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
And they ran the ball like crazy, like it was nothing on the Seahawks front. That is the best team in the league by a substantial margin. at doing that. And really, I don't know if it ended this way for the Rams, but they were at one point in the middle of the season, like in double-digit weeks, like probably around November, they were the number one success rate team in NFL history running the football. Not big plays, but consistent gains.
Their offensive line is nice, man. Dotson, obviously, the focal point here, but yeah, I brought it up earlier. Warren McClendon had a really nice year for the Rams, filling in for Havenstein. I don't honestly know how that's pronounced, but
I think it's Stein.
It might be Stein. But yeah, McClendon had an outstanding year, and him next to Dotson, that right side of the offensive line is honestly one of the best in football right now. So
yeah, I think the Rams are poised to get back. Obviously, like, there's Stafford, and we'll see how he continues to age. And there's always going to be the injury stuff with him. But
would he retire?
Honestly, like, everyone keeps talking like he's retiring like this off season. Is that based off of like some report I haven't seen, or is the idea that I think it's
based on the fact that he's got a back injury and had the opportunity to go out at the highest possible point with a ring and an MVP, and now that's not. The ring part isn't happening. So
yeah, I think the Rams are just too damn close. And I mean, they're 7th in cap space.
And they got the Falcons
season, and they got 2 first-round draft picks. And I mean, could they? I'm sure we've talked about it before, but like that 13 range is like, I think, going to end up being right around the end of that like tier of guys where I'm like, oh man, like this dude's a hooper. Maybe it's a little higher, and I don't know, but. Like if they get one of those corners or whatever, they're kind of in a perfect spot at 13 to land one of those dudes. And if they get a McCoy, like it changes the game for them, because those Rams corners were terrible in this game.
And maybe they can return punts.
Yeah, and the special teams mishaps. So there's a lot of meat on the bone for LA here, for a team that's already super talented, has a ton of money.
Dude, even if Stafford retires, they could be right back here. Like,
I've been thinking about the Rams as a possibility to kind of do it again with what they did with Goff. Obviously, with Stafford, it's different because he's still playing at a high level. But could they make a trade for a Joe Burrow who's seemingly unhappy in Cincinnati, or any other quarterback that you think has a chance to upgrade their situation, or maybe you could pick up a younger guy who still needs to develop, and if Stafford's sticking around, you could have him. You could do the Rodgers thing, you could do the Jordan Love thing, train, or the Mahomes thing, train him.
The Darnold thing, honestly. Darnold went and sat in San Francisco for a year, and clearly that either helped him or it wasn't a bad move. Geno sat forever, and that obviously helped him. I wonder if, I don't know. This is it's not.
You don't want to speculate too much, but I feel like they have options for, like, you have to plan ahead at the quarterback position.
I would be interesting if they like kind of took on a project as a backup, and somebody like, I don't know, how much money would it take for Willis? Willis will probably just get too big of an offer from a team that's like, we need to start you right now. But if you were Willis and it was even remotely close, would the better long-term play, like, I'm going to go be the backup here for a year. Not a terrible chance that I actually have to go in because Stafford is pretty dinged up, but I bet you McVay could get me right, and I'd be in an awesome offense, and I'd have a real chance at a ring, and then I could really take over with this great coach who is also probably going to be there for a long time. Like, yeah, there's some other teams that need me, and I could go get a little bit more money from like the Browns or wherever, but like, dang, man, what's my best possible life?
Too bad, Malik, because Jimmy G is thinking the same thing.
Jimmy G doesn't have Malik potential.
Jimmy G.
What?
I'm thinking Trey Lance or Anthony Richardson. Those are
Trey Lance is too far gone. I think
Trey Lance is too far gone.
Trey Lance is not in these conversations.
I don't think
Justin Fields.
We're talking pretty hypothetical here, though.
Richardson's totally dependent on the orbital thing, though. Like, I don't know where he sits on that injury recovery.
Yeah, if he comes into the meeting and his eyes are not pointed in the same direction, maybe not. I do think Richardson would be in the conversation as a backup.
Richardson, absolutely. Willis, absolutely.
I love your Willis idea.
I would call about Burrow. I would call about Burrow.
Oh, yeah.
I would be calling about some of those other guys. It also depends a little bit on, like, again, I think Stafford will be back, and I think that's a good thing. I wouldn't like really worry too much about doing anything else. But if Stafford were to retire or have like some horrific back problem and they couldn't get him in the cryogenic chamber and they couldn't find the clone replacement in time or whatever, I think there's a lot of guys you could call about. Like how it could Burrow demand a trade out? Is Allen anywhere close in a year or two's time to like maybe being potentially someone you could trade for? Dak Prescott comes to mind. Dak Prescott right now is Lions Matthew Stafford to me in terms of like, you know, I think he's really good. I think he's a top 10 quarterback, but like he's not in a great situation, so he's a loser. But I bet you if you put him on a good team that could win, he would possibly become a winner. But he's also like kind of getting up there in age too, and maybe you would, if you're going to go spend big. I don't know. This is all hypothetical. Regardless, the Rams have so many great core pieces together. They have a great coach, and they have an offseason with a lot of potential. I think they could easily solve many of their issues in the offseason. And frankly, Seattle, 5th in cap space. Patriots, 10th. Broncos, 12th. So all those teams kind of have some money to spend and could really improve with strong off seasons. Seattle has $80 million. Now they got guys to bring back, but they got $80 million.
Well, Denver can improve simply off of Bo Nix being healthy.
Bo Nix being healthy would help.
Yeah,
bro. Why did Micah
he was having a great playoff. He was having a great playoff. But like, you can't tell me that the Rams couldn't have Mike Brown on the phone being like, dude, you could have Matthew Stafford. He's a winner. Like, you want to win a Super Bowl, right? Like, this is the guy to get it done for you, or Jerry Jones.
You call about Burrow, but at the end of the day, you call about Burrow, but I don't think at the end of the day he's leaving. I really do like the Willis idea of like, look, Stafford is going to be our quarterback next year. All right, the hypotheticals are fun, but Burrow's probably not leaving.
Sure.
And Stafford will probably be the quarterback in LA, 99% chance. But someone like Willis, I love that idea. I really do.
Get a real backup. That's all. Get a real backup who you feel like you could seriously go on a run with.
And you could do it. You absolutely could do it. Like, this team could be back here. They could win the Super Bowl next year with Stafford easily. I mean, they're a muff punt away from winning it this year, probably.
Yep.
So you could win it with Stafford next year. You got to
be forward thinking. You can't just be like, well, we're just running it back and not worrying about like something not breaking our way that broke our way this year.
And the point is, they could win it so easily next year that they could even win it without Stafford. Like, they could. It's like he's not even the like absolute necessity when they like add 2 first-round picks and whatever stars they're going to extend.
If they figure out their cornerback situation, it's incredibly spooky
for sure.
And I think they have a real good opportunity to
the point where it's like, would they even pick up the phone on Burrow? Because it's like, we don't want all of our cap going to that guy.
Sure.
We have a glorious team.
I don't think there. If Stafford retired, that would maybe be like, that would be a call that you would make. With Stafford on the team, I don't think that really makes sense. And I don't think Stafford's going to retire. I think it would be weird if he did, but I don't know his exact injury situation. And he's certainly.
I mean, if you got Burrow, you could be a dynasty. So maybe you'd like kind of sort of maybe.
They just keep Staffording the whole thing. And
this Stafford, when he got brought in, this was the exact same discussion where it was like, but can you pay a guy that much? Now, they weren't actually paying Stafford that much. They were paying like partially Goff's dead money, which they had, like they basically were paying QB. And then they did. And since then, it's been like, okay, you kind of can't pay the quarterback. And it's partially because paying the QB is like kind of not real if you don't want, like, you can just restructure them into oblivion. So like, Dallas owes Dak like $75 million next year. Some BS are probably not going to pay him that or whatever. But I don't think they would be scared of trading for a guy with a big contract. This is a big discussion for what I think is going to happen, which is like maybe they sign an interesting backup who's not Garoppolo. And maybe Willis would consider it, but I bet you he just gets a big bag offer because there's so few quarterback solutions. And he's like, I got to take the guaranteed money. But we'll see.
We'll see. We will. Before we move on, we have one more friend of the show that we need to talk about. New friend of the show, Fabletics. I don't know if you guys saw, but Jamar Chase is officially a Fabletics first NFL ambassador. He's the first one. He just dropped his first collection, and it's exactly what you'd expect. Effortless tees, oversized hoodies, and all the comfy stuff that you actually want to live in this time of year. You know, we got to jump on it because we're Fabletics VIP, so we get first dibs on the new gear. And yeah, dude, you already know it's going to deliver. When you sign up with the new Fabletics VIP, you get 80% off everything, dude. You know, you fully expect it to be one of those too good to be true deals, but dude, I promise you it's not. The quality genuinely is elite. The pieces feel like kind of high-end active where you'd normally pay a couple $100 for, but you're getting that same premium fit and durability for a fraction of the price. At the point, the VIP membership basically pays for itself. And the fit is dialed in. No waistband sliding down, joggers that actually keep their shape. The jackets keep you warm without feeling bulky. Everything is soft, breathable, flexible, perfect for workouts, travel days, or those New Year fresh start mornings when you just want to throw something on and feel put together. Got to order a full set for the chilly morning workouts. Keep you warm without overheating. It is huge. Also helps knowing Fabletics isn't just some online brand. They've got over 2 million VIP members with over 100 retail stores. So it feels like a brand that people trust and stick with once they try it. Fabletics has already got some incredible deals, but they've got an exclusive offer just for the listeners here at Stay Hot. You can get 80% off everything when you sign up as a VIP. Yes, that includes a Jamar Chase first drop. Just head to fabletics.com/stayhot. Take a quick style quiz. Make sure you select Stay Hot when prompted to unlock your 80% off. Again, that is Fabletics, fabletics.com/stayhot. You guys want to do some trivia?
I do.
You said you have a trivia question for us.
I do have a trivia question for you guys. I know we're not Nerd Sesh, so if you're used to trivia on there, that might be the structure that you're familiar with. But my girlfriend asked me this trivia question after the playoff games tonight. She was like, 5 schools have produced a U.S. president and a Super Bowl winning QB. And she just listed off the names to me, but then I was like, okay, well, let me try and figure out who those quarterbacks and presidents are. So I'll ask you, which question would you rather answer?
Well, we gotta find the schools and the pairs, I guess. I only know one off the top of my head, and I'm vaguely positive about another school. I know one of the answers is Delaware, and it's Biden and Flacco.
Yeah.
That I know.
Okay.
That is
I'm also almost certain that a former president has gone to West Point.
Possibly, but West Point is not on the list.
Navy?
Navy is on the list.
Right.
Okay.
Navy has produced a Super Bowl winning quarterback and a president.
Staubach?
Yes. Yes, it is Staubach. Yes.
There we go, Matt. Come on.
That's cooking right now.
I don't know, but I don't know the presidents, like Eisenhower or something like that.
It's not Eisenhower. President really old. Well, was really old.
Yale.
Carter?
It was Carter. Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Jimmy Carter.
Matt's like on an absolute heater.
Well, really
right
old. Jimmy Carter's famous for being old as hell.
I guess
Well,
that
it wasn't that long ago. And now he's dead. So like,
yeah, now he's dead.
really?
Yeah. So
Is he older than Eisenhower now? No.
So far you have Delaware with Biden and Flacco, and Navy with Jimmy Carter and Roger Staubach.
Georgia with Stafford.
No, not Georgia. You're missing, like, there's one school that has the biggest guy on either side of this list.
On either side of this list. On
Is Stanford
either
one of the schools?
It is the single biggest.
That's a good guess.
What school?
Stanford.
Stanford is one.
There we go.
And Stanford has 2 quarterbacks.
Elway, right?
Elway's one.
Come on.
Ooh. Stanford. I just don't know the presidents like that, though. I'm not.
I don't know the presidents at all.
Neither did I. Neither did I. I'll give you the hint for the president at Stanford is his first name is the last name of a really good NFL quarterback right now.
His first name Stafford.
No. A quarterback
From my high school.
A quarterback that we love on this. A quarterback that we love on this show.
Jackson.
and his name is alliteration. He's got an alliteration name. And
this is too much. I'm not nerd. I'm not Logan. I'm not Carson.
I'm trying.
Lawrence.
Trying to. It's a quarterback we love on this show, man.
Lawrence Laroni?
No.
We love.
He was a great president.
Specifically, we have a thumbnail that goes viral.
Herbert Humphrey?
Herbert Hoover.
Herbert
Hoover. Yes. Herbert Hoover, John Elway. Do you know the other quarterback that went to Stanford?
Andrew Luck, baby. Yeah, he got that ring.
He did not get a ring.
He went out on top. I remember when he retired on top.
Was he recent?
No, definitely not recent.
Johnny Unitas.
Unitas is a good guess, but no.
Joe Namath. You don't cut West Coast.
You're in the right category with J's, but not Unitas. I'll tell you, he was born.
Jim.
Come on.
Jim.
Theo.
A Super Bowl winning quarterback named Jim.
Bowl winning quarterback named Jim.
Oh, no.
Man.
No. He went to BYU.
Jim Murphy.
BYU is not
years of college basketball star.
Oh, come on. You're so close. Jimmy
Jangles. Jimmy.
I really can't give you much of a hint here. He played for the Patriots. He played for the 49ers. He played for the Raiders. No.
The Raiders.
He played for...
Did he win it with the Raiders?
He would have won it, yes.
Yeah, this guy's slipping my name.
Jimmy Carr?
His name's slipping my mind. I know exactly who this is.
Jim Smith? I don't know. Yeah, who is it?
Jim Plunkett.
I was thinking plumber, but I'm like, no, that's not right. All right.
Yeah,
you just gotta say these things that are in your mind, and then we'll.
Saying them out loud kind of helps get through the.
Or maybe you shouldn't, because I'm rattling off absolute nonsense.
Ohio State doesn't have a I don't think they even have a president. I honestly don't know.
Ohio State's not on this list.
Is Michigan?
Miami of Ohio have one?
Michigan is on this list, and Miami of Ohio is on this list.
All right, well then Brady and Roethlisberger, and I don't know.
It's a Michigan man. Was Woodrow Wilson a Michigan man?
It was not Woodrow Wilson.
That would have been
the way Sophia gave me the hint was...
He's just an evil guy.
The way Sophia gave me this hint is the last name is a very major brand.
Very major brand.
Ford.
Yes. There you go. That's Michigan. Michigan, Ford,
sense.
And Brady. Miami of Ohio...
Large Roethlisberger and
Miami of Ohio.
William Howard Taft. Is that they got the museum in Ohio?
Dude,
I know that.
That's what that was my first guess. It is a William, but it is not Taft.
William Harding. Is there a Harding? I'm keep going.
Yeah, I think there's a Harding.
You have the right You have the right first letter of the last name.
William. Hey.
William Henry?
No, you're so close. Like, you've got like the first sound, the first syllable. Hey.
I don't know.
Harrison.
William Harrison. Is he the guy that died after like 3 weeks?
I don't know. I don't know anything about presidents, dude. I just thought it was a funny bit. And also, I won't give you the question because it's very obvious, but if Drake May wins the Super Bowl this year, UNC will join that group. with
There we go.
James K. Polk as the president.
Shout out William Henderson. William Henry Harrison. He was president for a month. And then he died.
He got sick because he stood outside and it was really cold or raining for his inauguration speech, and that's what made him sick, and he died, right?
That is the story I know. That might be
I don't know.
It's fucked
I
up.
just know there's a Harrison Hall named
And they've had everyone since then in a dome.
a dome.
Dude, I have to say, I am pro outside games and whatnot, of course. But to be clear, winter is evil, man. I know I say this all the time on the podcast 24/7, but dealing with this snow today, how can you possibly like this shit? It is an unbelievable headache to have to you can't drive anywhere. You got to shovel the sidewalk, and it's not going to warm up. This stuff isn't going anywhere. I thought I was so smart and preventative. I salted the sidewalk before the snow, and then it made no difference whatsoever, which obviously it didn't, because otherwise we would always do that and we would never have an issue with snow. So I didn't hack the system, obviously.
Yeah, it's just if a foot of snow falls, you're just fucked.
And it looks good at first, but the second that they have to clear the streets, then it doesn't really look that good anymore. And it's super not worth it when it's this much and it's impossible to get anywhere. And then for the lore for this episode is that I had to watch the second half of the Seahawks-Rams game on my phone because I went out to get another bag of salt because I'm really trying not to to salt my sidewalk and I crack my head open or whatever. And I drive out there, I drive to the corner store, it's 2 blocks away or whatnot. And I go in, I get it, I come out. Battery dead because it's cold and the batteries die easier when it's cold, and AAA can't get to me because of the snow, man. And then we try to jump my car, can't be jumped, so it just gets left there, and then AAA calls me, oh, actually we can't, I gotta walk back down there. Dude, fuck this. And it's dark the whole time because sorry, it's past 4:30 p.m. Hell no, this sucks.
Here's Cammy's take, and I'm gonna put it out there. Every problem with winter is a problem with cars.
No, it's just not true. And I love the anti-car talk. I like walking, but I'm sorry, it's still just cold as hell and miserable to be outside. I'm walking to the corner store back because I have to go get my car back or whatever. And I'm this still sucks, man. It's just too cold.
You're not gonna,
if it's under 20
go
degrees,
outside
it's too
and
cold.
read a book on your patio in winter because
You're not gonna do anything. You're gonna sit inside your room and it's gonna be dark out and you're gonna be sad. That's what you're gonna do. But I cannot stress enough, you're gonna get to wear jeans while doing it, and that's gonna be awesome, man. That being said, I want to see it on the TV. I don't, and you know what? Here's the thing: I'll be mad if, at the minimum, I want to at least see the cool weather on the TV. Mm-hmm. The snow, it's snowing during football games. That's one of the only parts of the snow that's worth anything. You want
Cincinnati to be in a dome? It sounds like you want Cincinnati to be in a dome.
I'm not paying $150 to go to a Cincinnati Bengals game. I'm not a Bengals
suit
fan.
Of armor around the world, man.
It's first off, they thought about putting a dome over Paycor. It's going to cost putting a roof. It's going to cost $1 billion. I'm good. I would rather put a cap on Washington and then have downtown connected to the banks. Thank you. That's my Cincinnati infrastructure take. Or they could fix the bridge.
You're in too negative on winter, and summer rules. And summer rules.
Winter
I love summer. I love going to the lake. I love going to the park. I love walking outside, and it's nice. But guess what? I like winter too.
I like cuddling up with a good book. It's dark.
Yes,
out.
I do.
Sorry. Nope.
Who cares? Who the fuck cares?
Me. Seasonal depression is a thing, and it's crazy we even have this debate when seasonal depression is a thing, and it's winter because winter sucks.
Bro, I have seasonal depression because it's cold right now, right? It's snowy. There was a big blizzard. We all saw it in Denver, right? I was there.
Yeah.
I'm depressed because tomorrow it's 50 degrees, and that shit's all gonna melt immediately.
Dude, boo hoo! It's -2 tomorrow.
I wish that we could have. I wish that here in Denver we could have 3 consecutive days under 50 degrees. That's what I want this winter. It's been so hot. I'm going outside. I'm getting sunburned, which I guess can happen in winter. I go outside in shorts and short sleeves in January, and it's fine this entire winter. I miss sustained cold weather. I really do.
Theo, come move to Ohio, dude. It'll be great. You'll
I'm not
love
moving
it
to
here.
Ohio. I'll move to Minneapolis, or I'll move to Chicago, or I'll move somewhere cold, and I'm honestly going to be chilling.
You probably shouldn't move to Minneapolis. Let's be.
Nah, Minneapolis goated. Minneapolis is
I have a
goated,
question
and this
for you, Blaiden. I don't mean to.
Yes.
There's something I remembered. Okay, everybody knows the question. If you could be immortal, would you take it, or would you live your regular life? And everybody's answer to that is, oh, I wouldn't be immortal because then the earth would blow up and I'd still be alive. The heat death of the universe, and I got to sit around. You'd go crazy. Fair enough. So here's a better question. If you could choose how long you lived, how long would you choose? Now there's some rules. You cannot go out early. Once you commit to it, you got to commit to it. However, you're not like, that doesn't turn around to being like you actually have to go through all those years, so then you're invincible and therefore can be a super soldier.
Yes.
It doesn't work like that either. You just have to stick around, but you're still a regular person. And for the spirit of the question, we'll say that you don't like become a messiah after 250 years because they're like, how is this guy still alive? So you know that we'll just say that doesn't happen, even though it definitely would.
I think it could. I want to eliminate that last part. I think whatever happens, and you're signing up for what you sign up for.
It's just because your answer's like I would live like 100 years.
Here's the other thing, because we talked about half a Patreon episode about this basically. And I think the other thing that we decided was a ground rule was you age at a slower rate.
That was going to be my question. Is
Okay,
how quickly
so
do you age?
Here's how the aging works for this question. Let's say that your regular life will be 80 years, generally, and you pick to live 240 years. You age 3 times slower. So you still go through the whole cycle, but it's at an adjusted rate according to how long you choose to live. So 800 years, 10 times slower, 1600, 20 times, and so on.
Sure. And I can't say like when. I can't say I want to live until this event happens.
If you know when the event happens, you got to pick a number of years. What event would you pick? Actually,
I'd pick like. What event do you think I would pick, Matt?
I don't know. I'm really interested.
I'm leaning towards.
Oh, the Browns win the Super Bowl.
Well, here's the thing: is that's gonna happen too soon. So I have to say something like their 5th,
buddy,
or 10th Super Bowl.
Buddy, you got time.
What? That's gonna happen soon?
It's looking like you got a couple of decades at least.
But I don't want to say like, oh, but I would like. I think I would like to live at least 200 years. And so like to me, if I say until the Browns win the Super Bowl, that could only be 50 years. Right? And then I'm kind of out. So I think
over under Browns Super Bowls in 50 years over 0.5. I'm thinking about it a long time, but I do think I might go over. They get one.
You're saying in 50 years from now, the 2070?
Completely
reasonable. Yes,
I'm gonna be honest with you,
bro. The Haslams are gonna be gone by that time. I could.
Or is it gonna be Haslam Jr.?
Dude,
yeah, if that thing gets passed down, like you're in bad shape. Obviously,
if I live long enough, though, I'm creating enough influence, and I have enough connections that I could assassinate.
You could choose to live 500 years. Then your acceptable level of risk and investments and your compounding interest would be unbelievably high long term. You keep feeding into that, and eventually you can buy the Browns. I love that play.
50 years acting like, oh, it's cool. You don't think the Browns they haven't won a championship in 50 years.
That is what that.
They haven't won a championship
but in 50 more years, they probably will.
Your odds are worse. Like, you had better odds to win in the previous 50 years than you do in the next 50 years.
That can't be.
I think I would still
Yes,
take
that's
like
true because there's 1 out of 32. 1 out of 32 before 2000 or whenever the Texans joined. It was 1 out of 31.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's worse odds for the next 50 years. Like, it's
Yeah,
getting
assuming
harder.
all things even,
they're-
like 32 years would be the expected time
And
to Super
I've got
Bowl,
to
but
spot
they're
you 3 years
Browns.
because your window's closed for the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's
So it's really 47, and your odds are harder. So 0.5
So that's
is the
why.
number.
So that's why I give myself 200. I'll give myself 500 years, and then
To be safe, yeah, please.
to be safe, and then hopefully by that time I have at least 100 years of owning the Browns myself, and then we go on a historic dynasty. But here's the other thing: is like if I own the Browns, I want my friends to be helping me run it. And if you guys aren't around, then what?
Yeah, that's
am I
what
doing?
Jimmy Haslam wants.
Then
You got his son to be helping.
Then you got to
That's
get
why
to
you're
it,
not
bro.
getting your paw on the ground.
You guys are winning some
Yeah, but that's-
scratch offs, man.
Yeah, but running some scratch.
The current Browns owner wants his friends to stick around and run this.
Yeah,
thing
but his
for
friends
him.
are idiots. So it's
I got bad. They're a billionaire idiots. So I'm afraid I have bad news.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah,
We talked about this for a long time on the NBA Patreon episode, and we assumed we were trying to guess your answer, and we knew it would be a long time.
Yeah.
And I should have guessed that you had just
But it honestly, it's going to be a long time because I have a bit of a God complex, and I like the idea of existing.
That's
I don't want to die. I'd pick
10,000.
10,000 years easily.
I don't know why
You
Matt.
picked 10,000 years? Holy
Sure.
shit, dude!
And I don't understand that, Matt, because you don't like winter. You like what are you
10,000
gonna
years-
do?
10,000 years is a long time. You know, it's
Right.
been over 2,000 years since Jesus died. And like, look how much has happened. You want to
What are you
live
gonna
5
do?
times that long?
Over
Holy
under
shit.
0.5 Jesus comes back. Next 10,000 years. Dude, I don't know. Like, Theo was trying to tell me, like, oh, but what about all the changing technology? I'd learn it or I wouldn't. It would make no difference.
Like you just want to struggle through that though. Like you're
Imagine
I'm
capitalism
struggling
for
through it now,
10,000
man.
years.
It's never not going to be struggle.
Imagine capitalism for 10,000 years.
family Christmas. Everybody, you're dead.
But here's the question:
dead.
at what point does Christmas stop being a thing? You know, like in 10,000 years, you think they're still going to be
It's gonna
celebrating?
be Mattmas because he's
Yeah, bro. It's going to be fire. It's going to be on July 4th, too. It'll be sick.
Over under Jesus coming back, it's going to be 1 because they're going to think it's you, dog.
It's going to be
Mattmas.
awkward as hell when he does, and I've already been alive for 1,500 years, bro.
Oh my God, Merry Madness is gonna go crazy. All right, wrap this shit up.
Anyway.
It's midnight. It's 2 a.m. where you're at.
It's late. It's late. Thank you all for tuning in. Super Bowl coming soon. We'll be at Media Week, so if there's anything I'm really excited. Someone in the Stay Out group chat said that we need to ask all of the Seahawks players what it's like working with the Emerald City route artist. Just
Yeah,
like
this is our chance to
like-
get the Emerald City route artist.
it's a really good opportunity to get that off the ground. But until next time, everyone, as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Out, we will catch you on the flippity flop.